You can hear the noise behind me here. We're doing something a little different. I guess I consider it somewhat exotic. We're on Nelson Lake here in western North Dakota. Nelson Lake is the only warm water discharge, and so this lake stays open all winter. If you wanted to, you could come out here on a nice day in January and fish this lake. And so middle of May, water temperatures are still already 67 degrees, and so I haven't spent a lot of time out here. I think I came out here one time like over 20 years ago, spent a little bit of time out here in the middle of the summer and caught a few fish, but I haven't spent hardly any time on Nelson Lake, and I haven't spent a lot of time on a warm water discharge lake either. And they're kind of unusual. It's the only one in North Dakota. You know, obviously there's some warm water discharges on the Mississippi River, on some of the Great Lakes. You go down in Illinois, down into Kansas, you'll see more warm water discharges, but I don't know what to think. I mean, are the bass bedding right now? I mean, you know, I just, it's going to be interesting just to explore this and just check it out. So we're just going along. I'm just studying the side imaging here right now and looking for activity, just see what kind of structures in this lake. And I figured I'd start out with like a Ned Rig or some type of plastic, and who knows where we'll be by the end of the day. There he is. These are up. Here she comes. Here she comes. Oh! Oh, yeah. Fish has got some spunk to it. The first one's the hardest one. Oh, water's a lot warmer than the air. The forecast is way off. It was supposed to be 55 degrees today, 10-mile-an-hour winds. It feels a lot colder than that. But yeah, it's a respectable bass. Oh, that warm water feels good. And you know, I just went through here, side scanned it. Didn't see any weeds at all, but there's just a lot of just classic rock structure sticking out, and so there's some rock fingers and stuff coming out. We're kind of down towards the discharge. I figured can't go wrong with warmer water, but you know, boat was in maybe 8 feet of water, you know, pitching up into 3 feet of water on rock, and so great start. See if we can keep this train rolling. You know, and what's amazing is that, you know, there's so many places, you know, where the bass season closes down. Okay. And who would have ever thought, you know, when you think of North Dakota, right? Remember watching the movie Fargo and the accents and the blizzards and the wind and the 30 below. I mean, we've got it all, right? And we've often joked, you know, we don't put the wind on the brochures. Well, who would think that in January, February, you know, in the middle of North Dakota, that you could come out and put a boat in a lake where there's an open bass season and just wear yourself out, catch all the bass you want. It just seems almost surreal, you know. It just really a cool fishing opportunity. I think it would just shock people. I mean, people don't even know that this exists, and so it's really a cool hidden gem, under the radar fishing opportunity that would probably surprise a lot of people. There he is. Oh, these are just respectable fish. Oh yeah. Kind of see the water's kind of turbid and dark. Oh yeah, look at that. Just cool reaching down into this warm water. Oh yeah, look at that. That's a nice, look at that. That was just a respectable bass. Just like they came out of the oven. I don't know what the temperature is out here, but it's a lot colder than the forecast. I actually wished I would have brought gloves, but you reach your hands in this warm water and it feels pretty good. That is gorgeous. Look at that mouth on that fish. All right, we'll get her in the water. Thank you. There she goes. You know, basically, what this is kind of like a Ned Rig. I think it's called a limber leech, Northland fishing tackle, and I just picked a bunch of them up just because it's similar to a Ned Rig, but it's just got a lot softer, bouncier tail, and so that just caught my eye. But I've often said, you know, at least in the Dakotas, Minnesota, you know, if I could just pick one presentation for largemouth and even smallmouth, you know, it's tough to beat a Ned Rig as far as just catching fish. And so Very similar to that, just got a little bit softer tail, a little bit more action on it, but I tell you what, that just catches everything. I mean, if you're fishing around walleyes, you're going to catch walleyes. If you're, smallmouth, even panfish, everything eats that.
Jason Mitchell Outdoors is brought to you by these industry leaders.
From the makers of the legendary Salmo Hornet, meet the new Salmo Freediver 9. Capable of reaching depths over 25 feet, the Freediver has set the new standard for deep diving walleye crankbaits.
See that Freediver, that fish just mugged that bait.
Individually handcrafted, tank tested, and tuned by Salmo artisans, every Salmo lure produces perfect action every time. Catch more fish with the new Salmo Freediver 9.
Crestliner continues to redefine aluminum hull performance with engineering and design that used to be limited to fiberglass. An all-welded aluminum hull, engineered reverse chine, work-hardened sidewalls, full-length keel, and the brand-new APX hull design sets Crestliner apart from the competition. Backed by their limited lifetime warranty, now is the time to rethink aluminum.
At Shields, we speak your language.
You can't choose the weather, but you can choose outerwear that works. Technical apparel, rain gear, soft shells, sunwear, when you need to stay comfortable all day, choose Blackfish, because you can't choose the weather.
And so they're running this hot water all the way out to the far end of the lake, and it just revolves. They're sucking in cool water on the far end, and then there's a channel that comes out, and they're pumping the hot water down on the opposite end. Where this water that's getting pumped into the lake right now, it's 80 degrees, and even across the lake, there's a lot of 70-degree water or more. But what's really neat about this is that it's really a neat ecosystem that's pretty unique to the Dakotas. I mean, there's not, you have to drive a ways to find a warm water discharge lake. There, oh, that feels like it might be a good fish. Oh, look at that. Love it when them rod tips get buried in the water. Whoa! Wow! Wow! Keep her out from underneath the boat. Oh yeah, look at that. Whoa! Fish has got some spunk. Look at that. That just warm water just has these fish fired up. Ease her on in here. Oh yeah. Hey, well, this is fun. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, that is just a thick, beefy fish. There's a lot of bluegills and crappies in here. Just a lot of fish. I mean, just a biomass of fish. And we're not overthinking this. I mean, no other boats out here. There probably hasn't been a boat out here all week. Who knows? But let that fish go. But we're not that far from the discharge, because we've got closer. The water's in the high 70s, 77, 78 degrees. And so just to put it in perspective, back home on Devil's Lake where I'm at, I'm dealing with water temperatures that are in the low 50s. And so think about that. I mean, water temperatures that are 25 degrees warmer than what you'll find in, surrounding fisheries around this area. And so pretty cool, pretty exotic deal, really. I mean, the steam coming off this lake in the morning, I mean, it's just a real bizarre thing where it's cold out, you stick your hands in the water. I mean, land these fish just like you're opening up the oven. Cool deal. Oh! Fishing in the tropical tank. Pretty cool. Fish fight hard. Oh, stay out of the trolling motor there. Want to come over here? You want to come over the other side and play? That's okay. Came out of the water once. Oh yeah, look at that. Those warmer water temperatures, these fish just have a higher metabolism. Oh. Now it's kind of, I guess, before I came down, I had it in my mind, you know, that it'd be a Ned Rig or a drop shot or some type of plastic, maybe a little bit of finesse. But the way this water temperature is so warm, who knows, maybe you could throw a buzz bait out here in February and catch bass. Pretty cool. Throwing that limber leech. These are just gorgeous fish. They're pretty much cookie cutter fish, but just solid fish. You just see how thick they are across the back and the belly. Just beautiful. Here she goes. And we're just basically fishing rock structure. That's the only thing that we've seen. I mean, I haven't spent a lot of time out here, but just typical classic reservoir with just little fingers. I mean, it's just like walleye fishing, really. These little rock points and figures and stuff sticking out. And I just went through with the side scan and just put some waypoints on some of the boulders and some of the rocks and stuff. And it's no different than how you fish for walleyes on a place like Lake Darling or smallmouths on a place like Lake Audubon. You know, just fishing shoreline structure and casting. Pretty simple fishing. Fun fishing. This is fun. You know, the biggest thing with nanofil is that it's really thin diameter, and you're gonna have to be a lot more careful with your knots, okay? The best knot that I found is what's called the double Palomar, where you basically tie a regular Palomar knot, but you just go over one more time before you run your tag through the loop end. Now, a lot of times what I like to do is just use a piece of fluorocarbon leader. Makes it a little bit more pike proof, and I tell you what, a lot of cases where you have good water visibility, I'm a true believer that fluorocarbon can make a difference. Now, best thing that I found for tying nanofil, or even braid for that matter, to fluorocarbon is what's called an Alberto knot, okay? Where basically you take your fluorocarbon and you bend it over and you create a loop. You take your nanofil or your braid and you go through the loop, then you just wrap it around about 5 or 6 times, just like that. Then you wrap it back another 5 or 6 times back. Then you take your tag in and you come right back through this loop. Biggest thing is you get a lot of spit or saliva on your knot, get it lubricated. You take those tag ends, you can trim them pretty tight, but you're gonna find that that's just a knot that holds up really good with nanofil. From there, then just a 1/4 ounce jig with a plastic tail, and it's just a matter of firing and casting and reeling, casting and gliding that bait along the bottom. Just hit as many spots as you can. You know, just twitching and dragging. That's the cool thing about a Ned Rig. You can fish it a lot of different ways. It's kind of like a tube jig. You can swim it, you can snap it. There's no right or wrong with a Ned Rig. You can make a Ned Rig look like anything you want to. Oh, there he is. Oh yeah. Nelson Lake isn't a secret by any means if you have any interest in bass fishing whatsoever. I mean, Nelson Lake has historically been, I guess, what you'd consider North Dakota's #1 bass lake. In fact, the state record was caught here many years ago. You know, you look at big bass in North Dakota, a big percentage of them come out of Nelson Lake. And so Nelson Lake is just a reservoir that is just, you know, notorious for bass. It's really one of the only fisheries in the state that's really managed specifically for largemouth bass, but obviously it's just a tremendous place if you just want to catch fish. And you know, people have told me this before, and I wish I would have came over here and played around here sooner, but people have told me before that if you just want to catch fish, right, if you have kids, for example, or a boyfriend or girlfriend or wife, whatever it is, and you just want to go out and get your fix and just have a rod bent a lot, Nelson Lake is one of those lakes that just has that reputation where, you know, you get out anywhere near this hot water discharge, especially early in the year when the water is still cold or the temperatures are still cold, you're going to get bit, you're going to catch fish, you know. And tell you what, it's nice to have places like this around. Water it just burns. Fix my tail here. Might need a little bit of super glue to kind of fix that, but holding up pretty good. Basically, I'm just fan casting around the boat. Boat's tailing down in about 10, 11 feet of water. I'm probably getting up to about maybe 3 to 5 feet. I'd be on the shallow end of some of the casts, but it seems like most of the fish are coming, if I were to guess, 4 to 7 feet right off the rock, right off the edge of these rocks. Oh, there. That was a cool strike. Some of these fish have just kind of nipped it, but that fish picked it up and started swimming. That fish was moving. Yeah, just kind of a cool opportunity in North Dakota where if your fix is just coming out and catching a lot of fish that fight hard and you just want to wear yourself out and have some action, I tell you what, Nelson Lake, in my mind, from what I'm seeing, would be a pretty good bit. These are just great fish. Oh yeah. Talking about how cool that bite was. Look at that. Well, the next thing I want to do is come out here in January, see what that's like. I'm pretty infatuated with this. This is cool. And I've often joked or said, you know, I think people will be shocked or surprised how good the bass fishing is in both North and South Dakota. You know, because everybody's so hung up on walleyes out here that nobody fishes for them. That's the big thing why it's so good. You know, so there's some tremendous fish. You know, obviously you get over to Minnesota, Wisconsin, there's a lot of bass anglers over there and a lot of great bass fishing, but I enjoy fishing for bass. I think even though it's middle of May, we could have probably come down here and caught fish on a lot of different things. But I tell you what, the way these fish are set up on these rock edges, which is really crucial. I mean, it'd be like, say, 3 to 8 foot rock piles, and there'd be like just a sharp edge or transition area. Those fish are really set up on that edge where that mud met rock. And, you know, for spots like that, you know, a lot of times when it comes to presentation, the location dictates the presentation, since how the spot's laid out. Spot's laid out perfect for, you know, pitching some type of a jig, or in this case, you know, a Ned Rig. We were using a limber leech, which is just a Northland fishing tackle product. It's very similar to a Ned Rig or a shaky head. You know, it's just a deal where you throw that anywhere near fish, near bass, and they eat it. You know, it's just no matter where you go in the country, it seems like no matter where you fish for bass, they're going to eat that. You know, and when it comes to, you know, confidence baits, you know, especially on weed lines, rock, any type of structure, that Ned Rig style bait does it for me. No, here we go, here we go. Oh, I love that. I love that. Oh, that is just so fun. Gotten a couple fish here now where I've been just actually casting out back deeper behind the boat, just bringing that jig. Whoa, bringing that jig up the break. Oh, come on, whoa, settle down. Oh yeah. Look at that. Just love when they do that tail dancing. That is cool. This tail's still holding up. It's getting pretty beat up now, but they just come pre-rigged. But yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's just Great fish. Think I can get one more fish on this? Why not try, huh? Oh yeah, look at that. She's getting pretty chewed up. Yeah, I picked a bunch of these up at Shields, and they just came in 2-packs. I knew this was kind of a deal. I knew as soon as I saw it, I knew I'd catch fish. And they'll catch just about any fish. That's the beauty of them. Use a lot of Ned Rigs for smallmouths too. I used to always think a tube jig was kind of the end all for smallmouths, and a tube jig obviously still works phenomenal for smallmouths, especially imitate crayfish and gobies in particular. But it's just something about that Ned Rig type bait that just, or a shaky head, that just catches bass. Here we go. Look at that. Oh, wow. Just a little tick. And when you lay into them, they about pop your shoulder out of joint. That is cool. Oh, you know, when I first came by here, you know, there's a little patch of rock. Not a little patch. It was probably about the size of an average 2 cars of rock. And right around the outside of that rock, I just saw all these little specks. You know, it looked like rice on the side scan, but, you know, this looked like a bunch of fish. I'm just going to lift this fish in. And I thought, my goodness, if those are all bass, it's going to be a good day. Obviously, I haven't fished this lake enough to know. I think I've seen a few fish jumping around it that I think are carp. I don't even know all the different types of fish are in here. But we're just kind of learning it as we go. But yeah, just a great day. We've been tailing down in an area that's probably 40 yards. We've made just a couple incremental moves. We've just creeped along into this and wearing ourselves out. It's just as good as it gets. Oh, here she comes. Oh, wow. As soon as I cracked that fish just shot up. Oh, just like that. Oh, that's cool. Yep, this is cool. Just like fishing in a hot tub. Oh, look at that. Throwing water, settle down. Oh, come here. Oh, that fish is barely, oh, look at that. The fish is just barely hooked. The hook already popped up. Look at that. I mean, that's a 17.5-inch bass. That's just a great quality fish. I mean, there's so many states, so many places around the country where this fish that I'm holding right here is the most popular fish that swims. And to catch this many fish, or this quality of fish, in a day of fishing, that so many people around this country would absolutely kill for. Cool.